Hi, it's Jane, and this afternoon I'm still working on this Afghan. Did take it with me yesterday. We had a Awana get together. Was originally going to be some kind of meeting, to discuss the upcoming year and everything. But along the way, kind of became just a social event for us. We had a great time. Good food, good company. But we were outside, and it was a tad toasty out there. A little, bright for the time of day that we were having it. Wasn't too bad. The only thing is I did notice with my eye that being outside for so long was a bit of a strain on the eye. So, that's okay. Gave me a little bit of an idea of what it would be like to do that kind of thing. Because generally when I'm out doing the bamboo or weed eating, whatnot, I'm not out there all that long. Generally it's pretty early in the morning, so there isn't a lot of heat involved and, not a lot of bright sun, what I call bright sun. Working on that Margaritaville Caribbean fruit punch and mango. That is some good stuff, Maynard. Good blend. Excellent blend. Very yummy. But that is something that I was surprised at. I didn't think that would, really play a role. Because when I got, driving home was a little more difficult. There was still plenty of sunshine, but it was a little more difficult. And I don't know if it was just because the eyes were more tired being out there during that time. But it was a good time. And the item that I had chosen to take, I'm grabbing something to show you because I thought we'd talk about it. I had made the, as you know, I have a lot of pancake mix. And I don't make that many pancakes. I don't mind making a big batch of pancakes and, setting them, fixing them to freeze for later, that kind of thing. But there were a couple of recipes that I had tried this week. And one of those I took to the prayer meeting. But the first one that I'd made was what's called the basic pancake mix bread recipe. And it just uses the pancake mix, some milk, a little melted butter, and one egg. You mix all of that together, and then you can add different things like chocolate chips, blueberries, nuts, those bananas, that kind of stuff. If you wanted to do something a little bit savory, there's some other things that you could add instead. So I did make that. It comes out, do you remember the Bisquick drop biscuits? That was kind of the consistency of it. I think in the future I would either use, because I made a loaf of bread. It is crumbly, like the Bisquick biscuits are. You have to slice larger slices, but it's very good. I mean, I had that for breakfast. I had a slice of it with some butter on it, and it was really good. It is a little on the sweeter side, so I don't think I would use it with sandwiches, but, it's not bad to add some different things in. And then I had, what I had taken to our get-together was called Delicious Peach Crumb Pancake Bread. Basically, you add the same things. The only thing to this, you add cinnamon, and then you add a your peaches to it. You can use fresh, frozen, whatever. The only if canned, but you do need to drain them if you are using canned, because you want about half a cup of peaches. Now I put a cup of peaches in it because I like peaches a lot. Okay, and then for the crumb topping, you mix a little bit of the pancake mix with cinnamon, some sugar, and just a little bit of softened butter, not melted, softened butter. And it was really good. It was very moist. It was very, and everybody, I had people say when they took it, their first thought was it was pineapple upside down cake. And then I had a couple of them, the people come to me and say, that wasn't pineapple. What was it? I said, it was peach. And they were like, it was delicious. It was very moist, very good. So, a lot of people did enjoy it. And it's a great way to use up the pancake mix, And then I tried what is called an easy Italian butterfly salad, because I have a lot of pasta in there. And I don't really eat a whole lot of pasta, but I'm trying to venture out to add pasta if I can handle it with my blood sugars, okay? And what this called for was, cooked pasta. They did say to use canned tuna. I wasn't going there. I had gotten a package of boneless, skinless thighs at the grocery store for about, I think it was $4 or something. And so I'd cooked up that whole package of the thighs, and I'd cut up some to put in salads. Some of it I had set aside to freeze for later meals, those kind of things. And, spiced them up a little bit differently. So I used that, and then you use a can of sweet corn drained. Mozzarella balls, didn't have any mozzarella balls, so I just grated mozzarella, put it in there. Guess I could have chunked it. And then I had some cherry tomatoes, so I used that. Got to use my fresh basil leaves. And for the dressing, you kind of mix the olive oil, some balsamic vinegar, a little bit of oregano, salt, a little bit of pepper, and then some more fresh basil, chopped up. It was good, but it really felt like it was missing something. And I thought later on, it probably was missing garlic. I used a lot of garlic and those kind of things. Now, I don't know if garlic would go with tuna or not, but, I wasn't doing it in tuna, so. So the next time when I went to have it, because I ate it warm the night that I fixed it, and then I ate it the next day cold, leftovers is cold, and it was okay, but I still had that, it's missing something. So I chopped up, diced up, minced, whatever you want to call it, some garlic cloves, and tossed that in there, mixed it around. That was what I was missing. But it was good, either way. Now, when I was at Dollar Tree, I have seen these before, and I've never picked them up, and they're the grilled chicken sandwich, the fast bites. They're about 320 calories, and they're just about, I would say, the size of canning jar lid, just a little bit larger. Does have cheese on it, and it's just a grilled formed patty. You microwave it, and I had that. Well, I had a sliced tomato and a couple of leaves of lettuce on it, a little bit of mayonnaise. It was a pretty good lunch. But if you're really hungry, one might not be enough for you, but I was fine with it, so just thought I would share some of that. I will leave the pancake recipe. I'll probably leave the link to it. I think I still have the link for it. So I'll leave the link for that, and then the link for that peach crunchy top, crisp top, whatever it was called. I'll leave that. The Italian, you can pretty much mix anything you want with Italian and comes up good. So it's not too hard to find a lot of Italian pasta recipes, that can be eaten cold and hot. Either way. So that, my friends, was the extent of a lot of my cooking this week. Like I said, I did the chicken thighs that I'd purchased, and a couple of them I set back, to have for meals as part of a meal. And of course, lots of times with the meal, it might be a baked potato and some veggies, spinach. I do like a mix that, I cannot think of her name now. It's one of those southern brands. But it has tomatoes, okra, corn in it. It's a mix. I really like that mix, so lots of times I'll have that as a side as well. And then generally a small salad, so yeah. What kind of weather are you guys looking at this week? Today, we've got a little break in the heat. It's less than 90 degrees, but it's cloudy and we're supposed to get a thunderstorm. It's supposed to be coming up here pretty soon. So there's that. Then we're supposed to climb right back up to that high heat. And I have to tell you, I've been, this whole thing about cloud seeding, I really don't understand how it works. I'm not sure most of us do. So maybe that might be something to investigate. But, the amount of flooding that's going on in New Mexico and Texas and seems a little crazy. Chicago, Arkansas. I can't think of some of the other states. It's quite a number of states that there's been some very unusual flooding. And then I think it was yesterday in New Mexico, they got snow. It's summer. They got snow. I could understand if it was Denver, Colorado, but where this was, it is mountain area, but it's not as high as Denver. So and normally it's warm there this time of year. So it's like, is that cloud seeding? Is that the results of it? Should we really be trying to mess with Mother Nature in that way? I don't know. It's rather interesting. So, and just listening to some of the crazy news, we have the thing coming out that Giselle, whatever it is, her name is hard to pronounce. But she's ready to testify before Congress. It's kind of interesting. Then you have what is his last name? Rokana. Democrat. He has put a bill out there that he wants Epstein files to be released. And, I'll stand by what I said. I think that whatever is in there would could be catastrophic worldwide. You keep hearing all these rumors about, it was an intelligence operation. He was part of it, and he was collecting information. And I'm like, there's a part of me that goes, really? But you got to use pedophilia to get the information? I think there's a better way of doing it, but whatever. And then I've seen a lot of people talking about they think the information in there could actually cause world governments to completely fall apart, economic disasters, all kinds of things. So who knows what the real truth is? And I'm like a lot of people. I do think there were files there with names and things and information, but I think it's being held back as protection. There are some people that are saying that they're continuing to hold it back in order to get votes to go Trump's way. Because I noticed a lot of Democrats aren't calling for it to be released. Did he notify them of what they held and how many people, Democrats and Republicans alike, were in those files? Because I look at it like this. If you are corrupt and you are doing that kind of thing with children, I don't care if you're Democrat, Independent, Republican. It needs to be brought out into the light. And people need to be able to deal with you. And I don't mean by doing the unaliving thing. I mean there should be charges brought against you, and you should be sitting in jail rotting. Okay, that's my opinion. Especially when it comes to doing that kind of thing to children and stealing their childhood. So I don't know. And I have to tell you, sometimes I wonder the Democrats and their stunts. Sometimes you just have to wonder what they're thinking. They're out there portraying the alligator Alcatraz, whatever it is, Alcatraz, alligator, whatever they've called the stupid place. That, oh my God, it's just awful. These poor people are put into these big cages and they can't shower. They only get fed one time a day. It's either hot, cold, whatever. There's worms in their food, which I doubt. Oh my God, they have to brush their teeth in a very small space, not enough space, and it's right there where they poop. Well, yeah, it's called a bathroom. But here's the thing, folks. There are beds in those units. Those supposedly awful, terrible, oppressed people have all kinds of devices where they're sending emails and sending pictures and all kinds of things of, their area where their concentration camp is. Do you remember during Obama where they had all those kids sleeping on the floor, separated from their parents in one big caged area? You know? There were like 6 or 7 facilities that were like that under Obama. But you kept saying it wasn't happening. But here's what I'm going to say. Prisons, detention centers, are not meant to be luxurious. They are simply meant to hold you till you are processed out. Prisons, many of these detention centers, whatnot, they may have snacks throughout the day that are available to you, but generally there is only one big meal per day. It's cost effective, and it's not meant to be a 5-star hotel. Sorry, it's not. So, there's that. And many of these people were given chances to self-deport, take $1,000 with them, go home. They chose not to, for whatever reason. And then I hear some of the people that are self-deporting, or some that are going back home on their own without, the additional $1,000 that Trump has offered. They're finding that when they get back to Mexico, that a lot of the officials are extorting them. That if they drive across, let's say they come across with a vehicle that they purchased here in the U.S., they come across, guards will take cash, goods, whatever they want that's in their belongings, or even steal the vehicle, and then put them and what they don't want off to the side of the road and tell them they're free to go. So, and people are petitioning their president to actually look into it and do something. There are a lot of people that didn't have that, but there are quite a few that are complaining about that. So, we don't see a lot of that here. We don't see police officers and whatnot doing a lot of that. There are some bad apples, and normally they get found out, caught, taken care of pretty quickly within the system of the law. But we don't have that kind of lawlessness within the majority of the ranks of our police departments and all those kind of things. Let's see what this reads. It's a glucose monitor. I ate lunch a little while ago, had that sandwich. Now it's telling me my blood sugar is 251. The joys of sensors. But anyway, we're lucky that we don't have that kind of corruption within our law system the way that Mexico does. So we should be grateful for that. I was sitting here trying to think of what I want to do for my next crochet project. I am hoping that the eye is healed up within the next 2 weeks to the point where I can really start working on the shawl. I have started it somewhat. I need to do a little bit further work on it. For the repeating rows, I think I'm going to do 3 rows that are repeating. I just think those are easier. Although, having the same row repeating would be nice too, but I do like a little bit of variety in the way the shawls work up. But I'm hoping that the eye will cooperate. The eye is a little bit better. Like I said, as the day wears on, I do a lot of reading or whatnot, the eye starts to get tired. So both eyes start to get tired. And they almost are like, no, we're not participating anymore. So, and I have used my prescription glasses. I do have glasses that were prescribed after I got my cataract surgery. They do have the bifocals in them, and then they have the regular lens. But never really needed to wear the regular glasses for seeing. And the doctor told me, I didn't have to. I didn't want to, but he just felt like it was necessary in case. So I have continued that, using those a little bit more for more reading these days. And I do see that it is helping somewhat. Computer work is awful hard. I'll be honest. It's almost impossible. Because there's at a point where my eye they just will not focus enough to be able to do computer work. Just fine. Does allow me to sort of watch YouTube videos if I'm at the computer. Although lately I've been using the TV for more of that, just because I find it a little bit easier. So, but do you have any next projects that you would like to do? And have you discovered that you have been unsubscribed by YouTube to some of the channels that you've watched for years? Told you about the one channel. I realized that I hadn't seen anything by Fiber Spider in a couple of weeks, and I was like, that's unusual. So I go to look, and I'd been unsubscribed from him. And sort of kind of the same thing with Bag a Day. Like, goodness gracious. That's annoying. And I only get some of the notifications from her Nerdy Crocheter channel, which annoys me. Even though you put all, you don't get them. And it seems like it's almost gone to where it's kind of like it's behaving like TikTok. If you go to TikTok and you do a search for a certain thing, say you're looking for homemade creamers. So you put in, a search for that, and you watch a couple of videos and whatnot, and you're good with that. Then they put in a couple different ones. You're like, good. Then as you keep scrolling, you're seeing a whole lot of homemade videos. Which, I don't mind that. Gives me a lot of different things to try. Ideas. But I'm wondering if YouTube is starting to use that type of algorithm. I mean, they may not be, but it sure. So that's, I'm just wondering if that's what's going on, but who knows. I had looked at the label that this this color yarn is, and it's a red heart. Any guesses? Silver. And I thought, okay, that's kind of odd. I don't remember purchasing it, specifically for the color. Maybe I did and didn't realize I did. And then I got to thinking, okay, I don't remember specifically purchasing it. And then when I started thinking, I realized I was going to do a Wizard of Oz crochet along. And it was done in grays and blacks, different shades. I think a white in there. And I realized one of the colors that was needed for this was silver. So apparently I did purchase this. Just couldn't remember purchasing it. But it's going along good in this blanket, if you ask me. Never did do the Wizard of Oz blanket. I'd looked at some of the instructions and quite frankly, they didn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, was it a purchase that I made? Yes, I did purchase it. However, it's not on a site where I can go in and access and re-download. And this was on the computer that completely died. And I lost it. And it's not it's not in the cloud. Although I saved a lot to the cloud. It wasn't on any of the hard drives. So apparently I purchased it and didn't upload it to the hard drives that I do have. So who knows where it's at. I just know it's gone and it was wasting money. But sometimes life happens like that, right? So, anyway, I do know I'll probably be making another blanket, Afghan. I have been looking at some of the ones that I've been seeing come out with yarn inspirations. Some of the patterns that they have been sending out there, and thought, wonder if I could do that with some different scrap yarns. What I call scrap yarns, not really having enough that they call for in the pattern, and maybe just adding some different colors to it. So I don't know. Although that one that looks like quilt blocks, you could use that with all kinds of different scraps and whatnot. Partial skeins, as long as you had the base color. So that's something to think about, isn't it? And I do find it interesting. I have, talking about YouTube and the notifications, I've had a couple times, several times they've listed, I don't understand this, what goes on with the way that the notification shows up. But they've recommended Billy's same video 3 times. I've watched it twice. Once because I was watching it and fell asleep. So then I replayed it and stayed awake for the second viewing of it. And So I did think that was rather interesting. That they keep recommending something I've already seen. That never used to happen in the past. So, I don't know. Have any of you seen any movies lately that you'd recommend watching? I'm always looking for something new to watch here and there. Although generally I'm pretty quiet in the house. But, yeah. It is getting a little darker in this house. Don't know. Didn't think that was that kind of storm clouds, but then again, a few minutes ago, that noise that was off my phone was a flash flood warning. Of course, I'm pretty high up. I don't think I'm really going to have to worry about a flash flood unless we have, 25 to 30, 40 feet of water just dump all of a sudden. I think I'm still pretty safe from that too. But you never know, right? But what are your thoughts on this possible cloud seeding as the cause to all the strange weather this year? Do you think it's that? Do you think it's the results of the polar shift that we have recently had? Or do you think it's what some people keep saying, climate change? Just curious. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah, I was planning on doing some sewing this afternoon, but with the cloud cover and everything, I'm probably gonna put that off until tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow we're supposed to be right back to our normal sunny behavior, and be a little bit easier to sew. The light does affect my visual perception, and I just don't feel comfortable working on a sewing machine when I don't have real good lighting, bright lighting to handle that. And I did decide, before I was kind of stopping and changing here when I got to changing colors, I decided I'm just going to work these until it's all completely gone and then add in the new color. Just feel like that's going to work a whole lot better with getting these new colors in. The next color that I will be adding to this is the Cafe Latte Stripes. Kind of curious how that'll work up using it in this manner instead of using it in one of the patterns that I've seen available for it. Sorry about that. I'm tired. I always look forward to days where I can sleep late. Today was one of those. And of course, I woke up at 5:30. Never fails. When you have a day to sleep late, you're up early, can't get back to sleep, so. Well, I am ready to go move on to another project. I do have some cleaning I need to do. Mopping. Of course, I'll be very careful around the handles. Anyway, I will let you go for now, and I'll see you at a later time. Everybody, have a great week, and do something kind for somebody if you can. Bye.